Well, hello, everyone. My name is MightyStream, and I am going to do your Just for Today in a meditation for November the 16th. I'm brought to you by Hope Through Navigation, and this is our Hood Recovery Services. You can reach me at recoveryofhope21@gmail.com. I am looking forward to this meditation. I'm also looking forward to hearing from you. Let's go ahead and get into that screen share. Hopefully you can see that. I'm sure that you can. All right. The title of the meditation is Alone No More. We gradually and carefully pull ourselves out of the isolation and loneliness of addiction and into the mainstream of life. Basic text, page 37. Many of us spent much of our using time alone, avoiding other people, especially people who were not using at all cost. After years of isolation, trying to find a place for ourselves in a bustling, sometimes boisterous fellowship is not always easy. We may still feel isolated, focusing on our differences rather than our similarities. The overwhelming feelings that often arise in early recovery, feelings of fear, anger, and mistrust, can also keep us isolated. We may feel like aliens, but we must remember the alienation is ours, not NA's. In Narcotics Anonymous, we are offered a very special opportunity for friendship. We are brought together with people who understand us like no one else can. We are encouraged to share with these people our feelings, our problems, our triumphs, and our failures. Slowly, the recognition and identification we find in NA bridge the lonely gap of alienation in our hearts. As we've heard it said, the program works if we let it. Just for today, the friendship of other members of the fellowship is a life-sustaining gift. I will reach out for the friendship that's offered in NA and accept it. Let's take a moment of silence, followed by the We version of Serenity Prayer. Moment of silence now, please. God, grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things that we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Just for today, please and thank you. Wow, 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 wow. This is interesting to me. I'll tell you why. Because the process of gradually and carefully pulling ourselves out of isolation and loneliness that comes with the disease of addiction and into the mainstream of life is like a sweet slow dance, or it's us trying to learn to stay in tune, in step with life. And it takes practice. This is not something that is going to happen overnight. And you may find yourself doing really well with not isolating, with the feeling that you're alone. You may find yourself not feeling that for a while, feeling very much a part of the fellowship. And then something will happen in your own personal life that will cause you to draw your attention away from that day in and day out recovery process, that calling your girls or staying in touch with the guys, and or whatever it is that you allowed yourself to do to stay connected to the fellowship. Life will happen and throw you a curveball, and you find yourself disconnected, not intentionally, but some things came up, and you, instead of maintaining your connectedness to the fellowship it took a back seat. And when it took a back seat, it became somewhat comfortable initially because you didn't have to explain a lot of what was going on, maybe. And then you find yourself so comfortable in it that it's a struggle again to pull yourself back into the mainstream of living recovery on a day-to-day basis with other individuals. So if that's you, I just want to say this still has the answer. This meditation still has the answer. If you can see it, if you can recognize it, you can also handle it. You can also deal with it. And the way that you do it, that I found, is that I have to dial it back a little bit. I have to roll the movie back a little bit. And I have to go back to when I first came around it. I have to remember initially I was fearful, right? Initially, I really didn't want hugs. I didn't want to engage with other people. But once I got into the groove of the mainstream of living recovery, oh, there wasn't a convention you couldn't find me at. There wasn't a meeting that I didn't attend. I was so involved, I started DJing. Can you believe it? I started DJing for NA events in the city that I lived in. And I loved it. I loved it. And I have to take myself back to that. How can you, after taking the losses that you've taken during COVID-19, dealing with grieving, how can you pull yourself back into the mainstream of living a life of fellowship, of recovering, interacting with people again? And you know what dawned on me? You're really good on the mic. Why don't you get back to using some of that equipment that you've invested in? So much money. Why don't you get back into that and see if that won't reconnect you? And it has worked thus far. Okay. So that's just for me. Some of you may not need to go that far back. You may just need to have a fireside chat with your girls or call the brothers over to play some pool or something, have a card party. You may just need to reach out, throw a lifeline out to those few people that you know believe in you, that care about you, that will not gossip about you behind your back. Maybe you need to do that and just let it be very intimate in just a few people, and then make a commitment before that evening ends that you and one other person, you're going to drive somewhere and do a meeting somewhere that needs some support, right? And just kind of get your toe, dip it in the water again of fellowshipping in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. Now, there's one other point I want to make about this, that when we start to feel lonely again and we start to feel this alienation or disconnectedness, um, we need to remember that these are all our thinking errors that we have, that we've always had them, but for some reason now they're taking ground again. The alienation does not belong to the Fellowship of Narcotics Anonymous. That's something that you have to own. And it's something that you have to change. And you can do it. If I can do it, oh my goodness, I believe in you and I know that you can do it. Reach out to me. Send me an email or drop a comment below. Let me know how you're doing. I'm very much interested. If some of you are interested in, as a group, going through the workbook together, let me know because we can set up a Zoom meeting to do just the workbook. We can do that. We're not affecting NA in any kind of negative way by working the steps. If anything, we're benefiting. We're becoming an attraction, right, to others to also work their steps. Listen, my name is MightyStream. I've enjoyed talking to you. I want you to make sure that November 16th, 2022 is the best November 16th that you've ever had and that you live it to the fullest. Have a beautiful day on purpose. I intend to. Talk to you soon.